Right. So again, as you're jumping on, just remain muted. We'll do a Q&A at the end if necessary. Again, this primarily is going to be for brand new people who just want to take trade signals from the Plato's trade app, primarily indices and things like that. So we're not going to discuss any type of strategies or that kind of stuff. This is simply going to be how to take trade signals. Of course, if you're brand new, you're going to need to learn some basics. I'm going to go through quite a few little steps on what you're going to need to know, and you're going to realize like, ooh, I can't just enter this. Like a lot of people say, oh, you just got to enter this number here and you're going to make a lot of money. Well, you sort of can and you sort of can't. So I'm going to walk through and show you what I would recommend you do, right? Especially if you're going to take these trade ideas. I'm also going to show you how you can take these trade ideas, copying them into a funded trading challenge for $100,000 and get $100,000 of someone else's money to trade with. So if that's you, you're in the right place. I think I've got all my steps set up over here. Hopefully I don't skip anything. Hopefully I don't talk too fast so you can understand what I'm saying. So I'll try not to do that. I'll try to talk slower and have a better cadence to be able to keep everybody on track here. And let's go ahead and do a screen share. And we're going to jump right into this. So let me back up a little bit. So in doing this, one thing that I want to stress, right? If you're brand new and you're going to take trade signals, and somebody that's one is you want to do it on a practice demo account. You want to do it for at least 8 to 12 trades. You want to take at least 8 to 12 trades on one market piece, on one thing, not 50 things, just one thing. You're going to pick out one thing: gold, silver, US 30, NAS 100, whatever. You're going to pick out one thing and you're going to get really good at it. If you decide to do something else out of my recommendation, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just giving you, I've been around this a little bit and I understand advice, right? You will get your butt kicked trying to do too much at one time. So pick one thing, just one, and you will be just fine. Trust me. If you're coming into this at a, I need to make money right now and I need the money for my rent, this isn't for you. This isn't for you, right? This is not for you. If you're thinking about, man, I want to make some extra money, I want to supplement my retirement income, I've got a pretty good job, I want to pay off some debt, want to pay off some bills, I've got a little bit of extra time in my day where I can figure out how to squeeze this in, this is for you, right? But if you're dead broke and you're looking for a get rich quick deal, you need to pay your rent next month, I don't know what to tell you. This isn't for you. So I just want to make sure and make that disclaimer. One is I'm not a financial advice. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. If you don't like losing money, don't trade, right? I'm going to say that. If you don't have money to lose, don't trade because you will lose. Not every, if somebody's telling you got a ridiculously high winning rate, they're crazy. Now, said that to say this, is we do have above an 80% win rate with the trade ideas that we get. If you follow the steps. If you're not greedy, if you don't try to bite off more than you can chew. And the cool thing about this is with these trade ideas, if you decide to take a funded challenge and you sort of follow my steps, you'll be able to pass the funded challenge without blowing it. I blew a couple of them, right? Because I was trying to move too fast. I'm just going to put that out there. This is me just saying, this is me really saying that you'll blow some funded accounts, and I know some people that have. So just beware. I'd also recommend if you are going to take a funded challenge that you do it for at least $100,000 or more. You can get ones that are less, but I wouldn't recommend that, especially if you're trading indices. And the reason I'm saying that is you want to give yourself a cushion. The cool thing about it is, as a matter of fact, I'll tell this little story. They interviewed a gentleman that lives in India. His average income was like $1,200 a month living in India. He decided to take the $200,000 challenge, came up with some money somewhere. He passed the challenge, and his goal, he has a $200,000 account. His goal is to make $200 every time he trades. 200, right? So here's a guy making $1,200 a month. He says, I'm not going to lose my money because he says, if I can make $200 every time I trade, and I can trade 3 to 5 times a week, I've literally made more money in 1 week than a lot of people are going to make an entire year where I live. So he was thinking very conservative. So the moral of that story is be conservative. If you're making $30,000 a year and you're going to do a challenge, don't turn around and say, I'm going to make $30,000 a week. That's nice way down the road. But for right now, figure out how you can make another $300 a week. That will change your life. I'm telling you, if you can come up with a way to make 300 bucks a week and you're giving yourself some cushion and you're not being greedy, 300 bucks a week will change your life. So let's go. Said all that to say this. Let's jump in here and let's rock and roll. So can everybody see my chart okay? Cool, perfect. So the resources, I've got a resource site put up, and everything that I'm sharing with you tonight is going to be right here. It's going to be at xtrmfx.com/CCFT. That stands for Copycat Funded Trader. So CCFT. That's where you're going to be able to find everything I'm talking about tonight, links to TradingView and links to all the stuff. All the links will be there. Then there's going to be a really cool video included on that page to show you exactly how to take the trades that I'm going to talk about today. So everything's going to be here. So first of all, let's start with the first thing you're going to need. One is you're going to need to be able to track your trades. You're going to have to track what you do. So you're going to need to have some type of spreadsheet set up. Some kind of spreadsheet somewhere. I threw this one together. If you want to take a screenshot of this, there's no formulas in here. It's just simply labeling the top of what you want to put in there. So my first column was profit goal, my loss point and how much I'm okay with losing per trade, my lot size that I traded per, not every single time. This might change per trade, right? This might change per trade, but my lot size, what time I entered, what date I entered. So December 9th at 9 a.m. I took a gold trade. It was it a buy or a sell? It was a sell, right? So I took a sell. So I'm going to enter that in there. And the reason I'm tracking all of this, I don't want to track all this for us. Okay, you don't have to, right? I'm just making recommendations. You can do what you want to. My goal is to help you pass a funded challenge and have $100,000 to trade with. If you don't need a funded challenge and you've got your own money, however you track your stuff is absolutely fine with me. You can do whatever. The next point is when I get the trade ideas, and they're going to come through an app called Solex, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. You're going to get the trade ideas directly on an app. They're going to give you an entry, and they're going to give you some target profit areas to go to. Now, the reason I highlight these, and I'll come back to this here in a minute, is as I take a trade idea, I want to know how far it makes it to what TP. It might not make it to any of these, right? It might not make it to any of these. So I probably need to squeeze in another column and put in a question mark. And the question mark is maybe it didn't make it quite to TP1, but I still took profit, right? So I might do something like this. You can modify these and customize this list of however you want to. It's your tracking sheet. It's not mine. I'm not going to grade you on homework. Nobody's going to grade you on homework. This is strictly for you to keep track of what you're doing. If you don't do this, you're going to be flying by the seat of your pants and you're going to lose a lot of money. You have to track what you're doing, right? Very, very important that you track what you're doing, right? So next, once you've got your tracking sheet up, the next thing you're going to look at, and here we're going to talk about this. These are typically the items that you're going to look at, or the markets that you're going to look at when you get the trade ideas. They usually serve gold, silver, US 30, NAS 100, JP, the Japanese index, oil, BTC, and DAX. I need to scoot my X's up just a smidge like this. Thank you, sweetheart. Scoot this up a little bit like this. My favorites are US 30, NAS 100, and Bitcoin, right? You can choose whichever ones of these that you want to trade. It's completely up to you. If you choose one of these, just one, you don't want to try to choose all of them because, again, if you're brand new and you don't have experience, you're not going to be able to do all this. The majority of the trade ideas that you get, you're going to be able to enter them on your phone. You'll get the trade idea. It'll pop up on your phone on the app. And then from there, you can take that trade idea and you can actually enter it directly into your trading software on your app. If you're sitting in front of your computer, you can enter it in a computer. For an example, this is a trade idea that came out this morning at 9:19 a.m. It was a gold sale. The entry point was 26.75. The target profit 1 was 26.55, 2 was 26.40, 3 was 26.20, and the stop loss was 26.90. So what I like to do is I like to have something in TradingView, and before I do anything about entering a trade into anything, is I want to see what it looks like on my TradingView chart. I would recommend you use this TradingView chart before you go jump down a hole and decide to do this. So I would come in and enter this. I'm going to use my position projection tool. This is a short because it's a sell. It's called a short. So I'm going to come over here to my projection tool. I'm going to click on my short position. And I'm going to drop it somewhere in the range of 26.75. I'm going to get really close because you can edit this once you drop it. So I'm going to come in here, right? And I like to write this on my chart so I don't have to flip back and forth. If I've got my app in my hand, I can look at the app in my hand, but it's going to be 26.75 is going to be my entry point, right? TP, the bottom TP is 26.20. So I'm going to do that down here, right? So I'm going to do 26.20. 26.20 is TP3 in this case, right? And then I'm going to put in a stop loss. Always, 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 always have a stop loss, right? And we're going to explain this. So this is my first step. This is what I'm going to do first step-wise. You can see there's a lot of trade going on. This trade started this morning right here at about 9 o'clock. It was 9:0, what I say, 9:19, 9:20, somewhere right in this area. And this candle, this is a 15-minute candle. If I go down, actually, I'm sorry, I'm on the hour chart. Let's go down to 15 minutes and make this look a little cuter. All right, let's pull this over here. And where are you at? Let's pull this over this way. And let's pull you right up here. And we say 26.75, 26.20, and 26.90. So this is what this would have looked like, right? If I took this trade, it activated right here at about 9:19, right? Somewhere in this area right this time. That's what I would put on my timeline. It started here on the date and the time. So I got the date and the time, and what is it? It's gold, right? It's gold. I put in my target profit areas down here. The next thing I want to do is come in here. I'm going to use this little tool. It's called a horizontal ray. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to mark TP1, which is 26.55. So 26.55 is right about here, right? 26.55 is right about there. That's my TP1. So that's my target profit 1 zone. As you'll notice, this came down, and right now it is basically 6 o'clock in the evening. It still hasn't hit my target profit 1. I'm going to talk about setting goals. TP2, this is what I'm doing every single trade. And the reason you're doing this is because you want to know where these trades get to so you know when to get out of a trade. 26.40 is right there, right? I'm going to do this on every single trade. But I don't have time to do all this. Okay, up to you. I'm just telling you what I do, right? Whoop, left. There we go. So TP2 is here. And then I'm going to do TP3, right? TP3 was down here, which was 26.20. Nope, I want to click on this line here. 26.20. Why do I do all this, Forrest? So I can make money and get really good at trading while I'm copying people's trades. So this is my TP3. Forgot to label it. Sorry. TP3. So I'm all labeled up. Never where I wanted to. Put it on the left. There we go. I'll move stuff around. So TP1, TP2, TP3. So as I decide to get in and get out of a trade, right? There's several things that I need to look at in getting out of a trade. There's my goals, right? The first time is, what do I want to earn from a trade, right? So when I'm looking at my trading plan, your goal, your trading plan is, I can set my goal to TP1. What happens if the trade never gets to TP1, right? But I'm into this at about 1,200 bucks. This is about $1,200 when it gets down to here. It's about $1,000 right in this area. Somewhere there's about 1,000 bucks from this move to this move, and I'll share that with you based on a 0.125 lot size. I know because I did this trade earlier, right? So in running this, I've got to have a daily goal. What's my daily goal to get where I want? So for example, in the funded challenge, in phase 1, you've got to earn $10,000. So you've got to get from $100,000 to $110,000. If my goal is to earn $1,000 on every single trade, I've got 2 things that I can do. I can set my goal as TP1 or 1,000 bucks. When I get to 1,000 bucks, I close the trade. I don't really care what this trade does from here. I'm still going to go track it, right, until it's just dead, right? I'm going to track it until it's dead. So I've got this done. I've got it on my spreadsheet. It hasn't made it quite to TP1 yet, so I probably do something like this, right? Something like this color green. It made it here, and then my earnings over here, I'm going to put my earnings on this side. So let's take a look at this and see what it looks like in my trading software. Again, I've got link resources everywhere set up for all this stuff. So in my trading software, right, here's my trading software. Look, it looks very familiar to trading view. I'm going to do the same thing, right? I entered right here. I got out right here. It was just under $1,000, and you can see I was in here playing with this today. So it's $925 in this move to this move at a 1.25 lot size. I got in the trade at about 9:17 in the morning, and I got out 2 hours later at 11:29, right? So I got out basically 2 hours and 15 minutes later, I got out of the trade, and it was a trade of $925 traded in this zone, right? I've got this set up on my trading software. We're going to come back and show you how to do this here in just a second. So in setting this up, my first thing I want to do is I want to have a spreadsheet set up so I can track trade ideas. So when I get a trade idea, I know what I'm doing. I want to have Trade Locker or Trading View set up so that I can take a look and see what is possibly going to look like in goals. And I can also set alerts on here. Trading View has some awesome YouTube channel that you can go to. I can set an alert on here that when it's crossing down, and I can do all this fun stuff on here so I don't have to sit in front of my chart all day. It'll send me an alert when it gets to here to this TP. If I decide I'm just going to stay until it hits TP1, I'm going to be cool with that, right? So trading software, it would have looked something like this, right? In this move, it entered here, it got down to here. So let's go in and clear all this stuff. I'm going to show you how this trade gets entered. So the trade idea popped up on my trading software, right? I don't want to erase that yet, so let's just erase you and you and you and you, and we'll erase this. One thing I do like to do in my software is go ahead and put in my target profit zones on here where I want them, and then I can set alerts on here as well. To set an alert at an area, I simply come over here to the left and I hover over it, and there's like this little plus sign that pops out. I click on this little plus sign and it says alert. When I click alert, it's going to create a little alert line right here on my trade locker chart. So again, you just hover over the number, just put your cursor just to the left of the where you want to put the alert, and it'll create an alert for you simply by clicking on the plus sign. You can come over here and create an alert. You can also put a pending order. You can do a stop loss. You can take profit. All of that by simply just moving your mouse just to the left of where you want to do that and set an alert. So I've set alerts on all of my TPs on here. So when it goes off, so here's an example. If I want to set an alert on this TP3, I'm going to come right down here, see how close I can get. And I'm going to hit alert. It set an alert here. So it's going to pop up on my phone when price passes one of these zones, it's going to pop up on my phone. So I've done that. That's my first step. So we're pretending right now this trade hasn't activated. So the next thing I want to do is, since I have this trade ID on my phone, there's two types of trades. You're going to have an immediate execute and a pending order. A pending order simply means price hasn't gotten to my zone yet. So when I come over here to my little entry software over here on the very, very right-hand side, right over here on the right-hand side, there's this little arrow. I'm going to choose this arrow and I'm going to click on pending, right? My entry was 96. So not 96. It's 26. 96 would be crazy, right, Martin? So 26.75. All right. So 26.75 is going to be my entry. And let's just pretend price isn't anywhere down here yet. Just say it's up in this area somewhere. So you see it gave me a pending line right here. This is pending for my entry. It's 26.75. My target profit number 3 was 26.20. So I'm going to put that in here. 26.20. This is step 2. Just trust me on this. And I'm also going to put in my stop loss, which was 26.90. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I've got my pending order in here. I've got my profit level down here. and I've got a stop loss up here, right? What is that going to look like on my chart? I can come over here with my cool measuring tool. I'm doing a short position. My entry is going to be right here. I'm going to drag this up here for my stop loss, right? You can see my stop loss right now is $1,800, which is nuts. But again, I'm on a $100,000 challenge. On a $100,000 challenge, the max you can lose is $5,000 in a day. I wouldn't recommend you do that. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, but you can set it to whatever you want to. So now that I've done this, I can take a look at these numbers and say, is this something that I want to do? Is this a number that I want to do? Maybe my goal is to simply get out at 500 bucks. So now that I've got everything on this chart, right, since we're practicing, since we're going to take 8 to 12 trades in practice, we're just going to enter these, we're going to put them on our tracking sheet, and we're going to see what happens, right? That's the whole point of this. We're just going to practice for our first 8 to 12 trades so we can get a general idea on how to enter these things, on how they move, what kind of win ratio we have, whether you choose gold, US 30, NOS 100, whatever. We're going to enter these in and see where it goes. So when this bad boy hits TP1, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit TP1, right? I'm going to mark TP1 when it gets there. It hasn't gotten here yet, so I'm not going to do that yet because it hasn't gotten to this position. This is just me tracking this. I want to know how often gold hits TP1, hits TP2, hits TP3. If it hits TP2 on a regular basis and it hits TP2 every single time, maybe TP3 occasionally, maybe TP4 every now and then, but if it hits TP2 every single time, and I've done it for like 20 trades in a row and it's hit TP2, guess what I'm going to do when I take a trade signal on gold? I'm going to enter in TP2. I'm going to sit on my hands and I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it do what it does. I'm going to create a trailing stop loss. So as it gets down in here, I'm going to move my stop loss down. That's some advanced training, but I'm going to move my stop loss down. I'm going to hit my trailing stop, and I'm just going to let that bad boy move down to where it needs to move down to. So now that I've got this set up, my next step is, does all this look reasonable? Am I okay with winning $6,875 at a 1.25 lot size? We're going to talk about lots here in just a minute if it goes down to TP3. Here's what I would recommend if you're brand new and you're trying to pass a challenge. If you're brand new and trying to pass a challenge, you're on the $100,000 challenge, I would change this to like a 0.5, a half a lot. I wouldn't go any more than that. And on your loss size, loss, the amount that you want to lose is now $750. You're giving yourself a huge, huge cushion. Win side, profit-wise, this is $27.50. It's got to come all the way down here to get to $27.50. My next step is I'm going to take this bad boy, I'm going to slide it up somewhere in this area. I'm going to say, how much do I want to win today? You can win 500, you can win 600, you can win 1,000, whatever you want to. There's quite a few different ways you can do this. So I'm going to move this up here, and then I might bump my lot size up just a little bit. Let's say I want to get 1,000 bucks earned today. So let's go up to 0.9, right? So that's $992 coming down about 50% of the way to TP1. You can adjust this any way you want based on what you want to do, or you can just let price run and let it run, and you can check your phone every now and then. And when that bad boy hits your goal, your target goal, you can simply hit and close the trade. There's 1,000 different ways to do this. If I'm trying to earn $992, my stop loss is going to have to come way down here somewhere because I don't want to lose all that. But I want to wait to move my stop loss until price gets down in here somewhere. And you can do that with a trailing stop loss. So just to recap, when you're practicing these trades, the first thing that you want to do is you want to come down and you want to enter where you're going to get in, right? So we said it's 26.75 was my entry. My take profit was 26.20, right? 26.20 was my take profit. My stop loss was 26.90. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I want to check this and see if all this makes sense, if these numbers make sense to me, right? If it comes all the way down here and I let it go and let it run, it's 4,950. There's a lot of people saying, well, I'm just going to let it get there. What if it doesn't ever get there? What if it comes down here, it turns around and comes back up in this direction? You got down to $2,200. You had an opportunity to close the deal, and it comes all the way back up here, and you end up losing money, right? So you've got to have a goal, right? When we come back to our sheet, is what's my profit goal per day, whatever number that is, and what am I okay with losing? Typically, this is something you need to figure out. That's why I say practice 8 to 12 times so you can get a good idea on what these numbers need to be. I would not max, if you're taking a funded challenge, I would not max this out at 5,000 a day because you will lose, right? Because at 2 days at 5,000, you're done trading. You will blow your account. So I would keep it somewhere under $500 as a maximum loss on a trade. And then just understand, if you do this 10 times, you've passed phase one. You do it another 8 times, you've passed phase two. If you can do that in roughly 30 to 45 days, you can position yourself with a $100,000 trading account to trade with. And then you can come back and look at, okay, if I earned $300 a day trading, right? Trade signals, if I earned $300 a day trading, taking these trade ideas, would that change my life? That's up to you. I don't know. Would $400 a day, would $100 a day, right? What is it? Like the guy in India, $200 a day. That's all he wanted to add into his trading account. With a $100,000 funded trading account, you have room to do this. The problem is people get freaking greedy and they want to make $2,500 a day out of the gate with no practice. They end up blowing their account because they turn off their stop loss. They just do some crazy, dumb, ridiculous stuff, right? Be conservative. If you want to come down here percentage wise, let's say you only want to lose a 0.5% per trade, and you might have to adjust this on each market idea. So gold might be a little bit different. So if I put this at a 0.5%, I'm now at $567. I'm sorry, $510 that I'm okay with losing if this trade doesn't go in the direction I want to. It's going to move down here. And when it gets to my goal, my income goal that I want to have based on where I'm at, maybe it doesn't make it to TP1, but I hit my goal of $700 or $750. Boom, I close my trade and I wait for the next trade idea, right? So whatever your trading plan is to pass these funded challenges, that's something that you need to look at doing and working that into, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to make money? What's going to work out for me? I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to try to pass the funded challenge in one day, because you can't, because they have what they call there's a way in there. You just can't pass it on day one. You have to have at least 3 days in there, and all 3 days have to equal out to about the same amount of number to pass it. So the minimum time you could pass a funded challenge would be 3 days anyway. A lot of people, well, I'll just do $2,500 a day until I pass. Whatever, it's your money. If you don't pass and you don't follow if you don't take my recommendations, it's completely up to you, right? Again, you got to be a little bit conservative. What happens if you take this trade idea and you set your lot size so high and it doesn't go in the direction of the trade idea and it goes straight to the stop loss, and you've just lost whatever money that's up here? And now, instead of being ahead because you were greedy, you end up losing $1,500 or $2,000 or $3,000, rather than being conservative and say, okay, I'm okay on a $100,000 funded challenge of losing $500 today, right? What are you okay with losing on the loss size, and how do I adjust my lot size to make that work, right? How do I adjust my lot size to make that work? So some of the other things. So that's your trading software. So we've got Trading View. We've got our tracker, right? We've got Trading View set up to take a look at what it's possibly going to look like just from TradeWise. We're going to come over to our trading software that comes with your funded challenge and or your broker, right, that you have set up, depending on what you're doing. Now, if you've got another type of trading software through your broker, then it probably works the same way, because not all brokers use TradeLocker, right? If you're doing a funded challenge through the funded challenge company I recommend, then they use TradeLocker, right? So you're going to use your TradeLocker software. I've got this resource link set up, and it's going to have here's how you get trade signals, download Solex, demo account, funded trader, TradeLocker, YouTube channel, so on and so forth. It's all here, right? If you want to get started, there's also a link in here for getting started, right? Trade signals, order elite package, play those packages. It's going to cost you about $200 to get started taking trade ideas. And then after that's $149 a month to take these trade ideas and put them into your software, right? So you start here. You're going to download this app, right? Once you get signed up, you're going to download the Solex app, either on your Android or your Apple phone. This is where you're going to get your trade ideas at. If you'd like to practice on a demo account before you get into doing all the funded trading stuff, you can go and there's a link that I included here, right? Demo account. It's going to take you to this page and you can sign up here. They also use Trade Locker, and you can also do a funded trading challenge through the exact same people we just talked about through Funder Pro by going through Osprey as well. And then of course, there's your funded challenge set up on this side for a funded challenge of $100,000, $150,000, and $200,000. Well, Forrest, if I only want to, here's what I'm recommending, right? I'm recommending at least a $100,000 challenge. You got to give yourself the cushion, right? There's not enough room to trade indices with a $5,000 account. There's just not. There's just not enough room, right? There's not enough room in the amount that you can lose per day with a lot size. It's going to take you 9 months to pass a $500,000 challenge using indices trading like I'm right now. If you're trading something else, you're trading regular Forex pairs and you get some trade ideas from somewhere else, that's fine. You can do that. But if you're going to trade this, you need a $100,000 challenge, $150,000 or $200,000 challenge. These are one of these. Now, but it's $549. Granted, it's $549. You come down here, you've got a phase one at $10,000, phase two at $8,000. You've got an unlimited time you can do this. There's no rush in this, right? Minimum trading days. I don't even know why they put this on here because, yeah, it's going to be a lot more than that. Your consistency rule, that's what I was thinking of earlier, has to be 45% because your first day that you trade is always going to be 100%. The next day you trade is going to be those 2 days added together divided by 2. The third day you trade is going to be those 3 days divided by 3. There's going to be a number. So your consistency rule has to be consistent. The maximum that you can lose, your maximum loss, is $10,000. The maximum daily loss is $5,000. Now, this isn't just cumulative, right? As your balance goes up, right? So let's say day one, I did 100 and I'm at $102,000. This number goes up. So you can now lose like 12,000. I don't know what the exact math is and say this one goes up to 7,000. So as your balance goes up, these numbers also increase for your maximum daily loss. Again, I would not do this as a maximum daily. I would take 10% of this number and I would take 10% of that number. This would be my daily goal that I want to earn. This would be my daily goal I want to lose, and I would take 10% of each one of these numbers. So 10% of 5,000 is 500, 10% of 10,000 is 1,000. That's what I would set myself up as a goal while I'm taking these trades in here so that I can pass my funded challenge over here. So again, what are you going to need? You're going to need a way to track your trades. I'm telling you, this is going to help your mindset 1,000% if you're tracking every single trade that you do, right? You're going to need trading views so you can put it on your chart and sort of see what it looks like. You're going to need your trading software and learn how to do this. Again, this is really easy. Let me clear all this stuff off of here. Since I did this, right, I've got everything cleared off of here. I can come in and put my target profit areas. I'm going to come over here to where it says pending. I'm going to click on pending, right? Let's do this all the way from the beginning. There's a little arrow down here I've clicked on. I say I'm doing gold today, right? Let's get you out of the way. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on the little arrow. I'm going to click on pending. Then I'm going to choose pending. Where do I want to get in? I want to get in at 26.75, right? I'm on a sell, so I'm going to choose the sell button. I'm not buying. Today I'm selling. And I'm taking my ticket profit is 26.20. I'm going to choose my stop loss, which I think was 26.90, if I'm remembering correctly, was 26.90. That's my first step. Then I got to choose my lot size. How much am I willing to leverage in this total trade? Right now, at a 0.9 lot size, I'm at 4,900. That's absolutely ridiculous. If I want to come down on that, I'm probably going to do like a 0.5, right, on a $100,000 challenge. That's a little bit more than 10%, so maybe I go down to a 0.3, right? Depends on where you want to go and where you want to get out. And this is why you need to practice this in the beginning. Then I'm going to hit the go button. The trade's been entered, right? So if it comes here, now I've created a limit order. And I'm not going to teach you what that means, but that means if the price turns around, comes here, hits this, and turns around and come back and enter the trade. Anyway, let me come down here and just delete that pending position. All right. So we deleted that. So that's off and running. That is basically how you take trade ideas. So you're going to get a trade idea through your, where to go? Through your Solex app. You're going to get a trade idea through your Solex app. So as soon as you get that trade idea, You're going to come over to trading view and you're going to enter those numbers in and you're going to put it on your chart to see what it looks like, right? So you're going to enter these into trading view to see what it looks like. Again, this is just practice. This isn't going to mess with your money or anything. This is just a way to look at what your trade might look like. You're going to choose what timeline or time frame that you want to use up here. I'm on the 15-minute chart. You're going to put some notes on here by using the little text item over here. If you go to Trading View's YouTube channel, they've got every video in the world on how to use this, right? TradeLocker also has a YouTube channel on how to use TradeLocker. They're going to teach you everything that you need to know on that. And then, of course, I've got my link resources here that gives you everything. Thunder Pro TradeLocker YouTube channel, everything is there. And then, of course, you're going to enroll. You're going to choose your Elite and Platos package. You're going to download Solex app. You're going to download Osprey to practice with on a demo account for at least 8 to 12 times, so you know what the heck you're doing and taking these trade ideas. A demo account does not cost you anything. You're not gonna lose any money doing that. And of course, when you're ready to go, when you're absolutely ready to come up with some live money, and you'd rather spend 500 bucks or so in that range rather than try to figure out where you're going to come up with your own money, spend $500, $549, take a funded challenge, and then use their money to trade with to come back and take the trade ideas, so you can literally use someone else's money. This is what I did to fund my options stock options trading account. I did this and then I took the money I earned here and put it on my stock options account. So that is how you trade ideas and trade signals if you're going to do this. I'm going to be back here tomorrow. Since this is sort of day one, this is sort of getting started tomorrow. I'm going to do a little bit more into terms of just entering trade ideas, entering trade ideas, entering trade ideas. Thursday, I'll be back entering trade ideas, entering trade ideas. Friday, I'll be back entering trade ideas, entering trade ideas. So you just see how this is all going to work if this is something you decide to, if this is something that you decide that you want to do. Does anyone have any questions? Because I know I went really fast. Any questions? Nope. Perfect.
Coach.
Yes, sir.
You can trade BTC on TradeLocker.
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm
now remember, trade lockers, you're trading software, right? That's not your broker. So that's a really good point, Dennis. Not every broker is going to have every single type of trade, right? Let's go back up here. So not every single broker. Your broker may not necessarily have these, but I know that TradeLocker and through the funded challenge, you can trade most of these. Definitely can trade BTC. I know because I just traded them the other day and it was a really nice trade, right? So you can trade them, yes. So absolutely, you just need to check with your broker. Not every broker is the same. Not every broker has the same amount of margins. Not every broker has the same fees. They're all different. So if you go, I want to trade oil and my broker doesn't trade oil, can't help you with that, right? If they don't trade oil, they don't trade oil, right? So if that's your thing, you just have to trade oil. You might want to Google which brokers trade oil and go figure out how to do that, right? So I would recommend, again, you got to pick one of these if you're going to take these. You don't have to take these trade ideas. If this isn't what you want to do and this isn't for you, that's absolutely okay. If you're brand new and you can figure out how to use this basic trading software and you can figure out how to take these numbers like this and you can figure out how to enter them into your trading software and you can figure out how to enter the go button and you have some type of sense about you and say, okay, I'm going to get this. My goal today is 500 bucks. And when 500 bucks hits my trading software, I'm gonna hit the close button, boom, and I'm done, right? I don't have to do anything else. And I'm gonna do that 20 times and I pass phase one. Then I'm gonna do it 16 times. I'm gonna pass phase two. And now I've got my funded challenge. I'm gonna get my money back and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start trading. And my goal is every day is I just wanna make 300 bucks, 300 bucks, 300 bucks, 300 bucks, 300 bucks, 300 bucks. That will change your life. I'm telling you, I'll take 300 bucks a day, right? I'll take 300 bucks a day all day long, especially if I don't have to work very hard to do it. Martin, you had a question?
Yeah, you might have mentioned it and I missed it, so I apologize if that's the case. But one thing that's really cool with the funded accounts is the fee that you pay to purchase the challenge. Once you pass phase two, you get that money returned to you. It's refunded. So it's essentially, once you pass, it's free.
Yeah, and they actually refund it to you when you request your first withdrawal on your first win. So you gotta pass you pass your challenge phase 1 and phase 2, and Martin is correct. You will get that fee refunded back to you, but you've got to go in and have a successful trade to get that money refunded back to you. Again, if you take your time and you're conservative and you're not trying to go in and make $2,500 a day out of the gate, right? Again, I would recommend being super conservative. If your daily profit is, if your profit goal is 10,000, I would set it at 1,000. If your daily loss is 5,000, I would set it at 500. I wouldn't go over those numbers. The reason I say practice 8 to 12 trades in the software is because you'll be able to see how that's going to work. It's hard to explain it until you push the buttons and hit the go button on how that's going to work, right? So when I come back tomorrow, any of the trade ideas that are dropped, I'm really going to go through every single one that gets dropped into the app, and we're going to enter. Hopefully we'll get a bunch tomorrow. Sometimes Mondays are a little bit slow, but hopefully we get a bunch tomorrow. I know the week of December 2nd to December 6th, there was 6,420 pips shared in trade signal ideas through this process that we talked about. If you don't know what a pip is, go look it up. The month before, in the month of November, there was 14,820 total pips shared between all the different indices. That's a lot. US 30 on its own did 1,200 pips last month. If you understand this, I'm going to throw some funky math at you. 1,200 pips at one lot size, right? It was actually, it averaged out, it was like 12 trades. So it averaged about 100 pip a trade. At 1,200 pips for US 30, you would have made $12,000 in 1 month. That's at one lot size. Half a lot size, $6,000. A quarter of a lot size, $3,000. Love US 30 because the math is really easy, right? So just think about that. That was just US 30. That's why I say if you just trade one thing and you get really freaking good at it, you can make a ton of money copying trades. Right? Income disclaimer, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Don't come on here and say, well, Forrest said. I'm saying if you don't like to lose money, don't trade, all right? If you don't want to lose, don't trade. If you don't have money to lose, don't trade. If you're thinking about a get-rich quick deal, you need $400 tomorrow, go borrow it from your auntie or something. You're not going to get it here, right? This isn't the right place, right? If you're looking for a way to supplement your income, add some extra income, and you just simply don't have the time to sit down like a bunch of us do that are right here and spend 2 hours a day actually in front of your computer. You just want to take a trade idea, you want to enter it in, you have a profit goal, and you're okay with that. You're okay with losing every now and then, right? Because you're not going to have a 100% win ratio. You got to be okay with losing, got to be a loser. I'm okay with being a loser, right? You got to be okay with that. If you can handle that, right, and not freak out because you had 2 losses in a row, you're like, whew, you can do this because you know if you're consistent, you're eventually going to win, right? So, say that to say this, I am done. Appreciate the input, Martin. Thank you for showing up. If you have any questions about any of this
One
stuff,
more
get back
question,
to
Coach. One more
okay,
question, Coach. I'm sorry.
you're
So
good.
the DeFi verse trade ideas on BTC, how do you think they will play into this?
Completely well. Again, that's a really good question. So you can go to the funded trading, you can go to the funded trader, right? Funder Pro, you take their trade ideas, you'd have to look in DeFi verse and see what their win ratio is, but it's really good, right? It's really good. So you could go in there and take their BCT trades. But again, if you're going to do that, Dennis, you need to take 8 to 12 of those trade ideas and just practice with them first, right? And I would practice with them like through Osprey or somebody so you can see what the win ratio is, what the average loss is, what the average drawdown is. I threw that in there. People are like, drawdown, what's that? Don't worry about it. If you track them, if you track everything I just said, it'll make sense to you. But Dennis, good question. Get into DeFi verse, take a look at DeFi verse, take the trade ideas, 8 to 12 of them, and once you get a feel for what your average loss is, what your average drawdown is, what your average win is, then it's like, okay, funded challenge time. You go in and just take BTC trades through the funded challenge, and you're fine. You'll be good. Now, just there is a bit of a margin slippage on BTC through Funder Pro. So just be aware, like sometimes you've got a little margin that you've got to make up. So you got to give yourself a little bit of room to be able to make up for that margin. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt. But again, if you can pass a funded challenge and get someone else's money to trade with, why not do it, right? So good question. And for those of you that are interested in DeFiverse, again, that's our standalone crypto trading academy. That's freaking awesome. Awesome place to trade crypto, and they give out trade ideas. Their win rate is freaking phenomenal. So I'd highly recommend, if that's something that you want to do, definitely jump in and take advantage of that.